Using a cell phone behind the wheel of your car may soon be illegal here in our state. Several bills are working their way through state capitol right now. One would make it a crime to drive while distracted in any form. Now, that includes cell phones.
And the other bill would make it illegal for drivers under the age of 18 from driving while on a cell phone. Teens who broke that law would lose their license for a year. ABC 15 Now wants to know what you think. Do you support a full ban on cell phones behind the wheel? Should young drivers be stopped from making calls while driving? Or should the state just butt out altogether?
Joining us today to talk about this topic and everything else making a buzz in the Valley today is businessman Michael Pollack. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, great to have you here.
Well, it's great to be here.
Are you ever distracted behind the wheel?
You know, I have to admit, I'm distracted with everything and anything I do. So I'm the wrong one to ask about just the wheel, but I have my opinions about texting and about talking while driving.
What are they?
You know, to be perfectly honest, number one, I don't think that it's necessary to be talking while driving because there's no question. We all know that it can be a distraction, but as far as texting, well, think about it. The logic tells you that's probably not a real good idea to be texting while you're driving, probably also not putting makeup on while you're driving or thinking, you know, about things other than what's going on the road.
You know, I've actually covered it, and some of them have been extremely serious situations. I covered one situation where a girl was texting and got in a head-on collision and unfortunately died. That was in Peoria. Another one that I'll never forget, I covered a car crash once, and a woman was putting on makeup, and when they put her on the gurney, she had the lipstick sticking out of her eye. Now, when you're driving down the road, is there something that's caught your attention, somebody doing?
Well, again, you know, I've seen people that are texting, and when they're texting, how could they be possibly concentrating on driving? And, you know, people got to remember, especially when we're also going to talk, obviously, about kids and teenagers.
Right.
You know, but people have to remember, you're behind the wheel of a vehicle. You know, that unfortunately can be a dangerous weapon if you're not careful. And so, yeah, as far as texting, no, that should be a no-brainer. There shouldn't be anybody that's driving and texting. And as far as talking, well, California, as you know,
yes, right.
They've had that ban on talking on a cell phone, I think going on, what, 2 years now?
Right. In addition to California and New York, 35 states currently across the country ban texting and driving. And our state going a step further, really pushing and stressing to parents that teens really do not need any more distractions than they already have. And that, you know, that's got to be really tough as a parent when you're thinking about, you know what, my kids are already distracted. Now they're going to be talking and texting?
Well, no question. I think that sometimes I'm not much for rules and regulations as far as adding new ones, but on the other hand, you have to look at what they're for and what the purpose is and what they're ultimately going to accomplish. And when you start talking about potentially saving lives, you know, and especially our teenagers that are out there on the streets, I mean, that's important, very important.
Under the age of 18, and if caught, they'd lose their license for 1 year. Is that too harsh?
You know, I think that there's got to be some repercussions if obviously they're caught doing it, and I haven't really thought through that that's the right punishment, but there has to be a consequence for breaking the law. And is a year too harsh? Well, if it saves one life, then I guess maybe it's not too harsh.
Good point.
Yeah, and I think, you know, probably we could look at, and I'm sure that some of our political leaders have already looked at what impact that law's had in California.
Right.
And if it saved lives, and it's easy enough to check statistics, if it's showing that it's saved lives, then by all means, we need to be thinking about that here.
Well, here's what you guys were saying on Facebook. Let's get straight to Ella Steele. She says, I think it's a great idea to ban cell phone use while driving.
And Dawnalise Armstrong writes in, what's going to be the next freedom the government takes from us? I can see regulating kids under 18. I don't need government telling me what I can do with my phone.
Josh Cullifer says, I stand behind the illegal use for drivers under 18. I, for one, see way too many teens texting and Facebooking behind the wheel.
I see it often, too, my friend. Jillian Rodriguez writes in, if they're going to ban phones in the car, they also need to ban eating in the car, putting on makeup in the car, reading in the car, listening to the radio in the car, etc. Wow, listening to the radio.
Yeah. Well, I want a quick quote. Teenager traffic fatalities in the state of Arizona, they've gone down 61%. 51%, according to one of the senators in District 20. Now he's saying that this is a factor, like you stated. Let's get the stats out and let's really see what this could do if we stop texting as well for teens.
Well, I think that's something we should always do. And luckily, history is an incredible teacher for us. And, in history, we look back to California and see what they've been doing. And, what an appropriate day today to talk about history, being the day that it is. I just think that, if the statistics are available from California and other states, as you were saying, 30-some-odd states, let's find out. And then we don't have to guess as to what the potential benefits might or might not be, or, the repercussions the other way.
All righty, keep the dialogue going. Let's roll on.
And we're